It's got everything you need. You can show off, and you can still cruise about comfy.
It's got the performance to go with it as well.
The gear changes are miles better now.
Yes.
It sounds pretty good as well, doesn't it? Right then, another BMW video. We've not done one on an E-Series for quite a while. Obviously we've got our race car, but that's got the older N57 engine in, which has its positives and negatives. You've got your die-hard fans with them. It's like the 1.9 PD versus common rail debate. But we've got quite a few upgrades going on this one. It's going to be a nice project, it's a nice clean car, so we thought we'll do a video on this one. So we're putting the BC coilovers on. That's pretty straightforward. Got some adjustable anti-roll bar, drop links. I'm assuming they come with this kit. All the gaskets and everything for the turbo job. Swirl flap delete, EGR Cooler Delete, all the seals and everything need for that. And an oil filter, because we always do an oil filter if we're doing a turbo. So we've got the GTD 2872 VRK turbo, so it's ball bearing, big billet wheel, absolutely massive turbine wheel. Works a treat on these. Really happy with how the spool. So, and then we've got the intercooler obviously. So we've done a lot more of these on the newer like 330, 430s in the F series, and that's the N57N, I think it is, engine, which is a newer one. That differs in a lot of ways. When you look really deep into it, there's loads of differences, but the main difference going to make a difference to us anyway, is the injectors. So this has got a piezo injector system, which, although it's on the older car, it's in a more expensive way of doing things for the manufacturer. So that's why the newer ones went to the solenoid. It's not because they're better, just because they're cheaper. But these do run, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll be wrong on this one. These are an 1800 bar system. The newer solenoid ones are running on a 2000 bar system. But the upgrade path for this engine is probably the best one, even out of the M series and the later N series engines, because this one, you've got a lot of options from like the 550D, you've got the big injectors, big pumps and stuff, which we sell. So we're going to max this setup out, see how much we can get from it, see obviously what is the limit, and then see if the customer wants to go any further and put big injectors in and big pumps in and stuff like that. So we'll see. It'd be nice to break that 400 horsepower barrier, but I think the injectors might limit us before that. But we shall see. It'll only do what it'll do. And nice, smoke-free, loads of torque. That'll be the order of the day. And then whatever power it makes, we'll see. So Owen's got everything sorted. You can't really see anything. It's all hidden away. So good if you want the stealth look. We've not managed to do the brakes and the suspension yet because of the problem that we had with the other two cars and this one, if you look. So this has got an air filter that looks like that. So although this is a K&N say filter for life, it doesn't mean never change it or clean it. But anyway, and then that, as you can see, is damaged, which this is a billet wheel as well, which normally takes more punishment, but it's damaged the compressor wheel as well. So luckily we're changing that. But because all three cars have had problems, we've not got anything for tuning to do, so I've ended up having to stop this before they do suspension, get this on the dyno, keep the dyno busy, but that's my problem, not anybody else's. So standard intercooler, that's crap, tiny little thing, works fine on a standard car. As soon as you map these, they start getting hot, especially with big turbo as well. And then the swirl flaps, this is why we take them out, because they either get gummed up like that and then break, or they just break and fall in and cause you problems. And then the EGR cooler, all the EGR crap's all attached to that. And this just comes off because it's crap as well. So we should be all right to get it on the dyno very soon. So I think that's the next place we'll go. So we finally got this out of the workshop and managed to get it onto the dyno now. They were pretty much done with it when I got to it, so that's why it's unstrapped and ready to rock. It needs its road tests and make sure everything's all right, and probably a final little tweak from what we've seen on the dyno just to get things perfect. So the front brakes fitted, the coilovers are on. The rear brakes, they didn't fit because you need a stub axle and a new wheel bearing to make them fit, and we didn't have them in stock, but it pushes the wheel out. I can't remember how much, it might be 5 or 10 mil or something, and these are close already, so we pretty much said we can't do them at the minute, but looks pretty good. It might want to be a bit lower, but we reckon if we lowered it much more we'd be scrubbing and messing about, so we're going to leave that to the customer. If he wants to go a bit lower, he can, so happy with that. But the main thing, nobody's bothered about that stuff, it's the figures. We've managed to get 424 horsepower and like 660 foot-pound of torque, maybe even a little bit more than that. Absolutely mental curves. Looks really, really good, really strong. Obviously it's an auto, so we pull the torque back at the top and then it'll change up a gear properly. So really happy with the figures. I think looking at the rail pressure, injection duration, boost pressure, we're probably not far away from the limit of everything. These turbos will definitely do a little bit more if you can get things in a bit quicker, but there's not 50 horsepower more left on the turbo. I think the most we've had out of one of these turbos on our dyno is like 450, something like that. So yeah, I think, and we might even be close to where the engine will flow. So we're happy with the figures. The customer just wanted over 400 horsepower. Safety were in mind. If we had an infinite amount of time and a bit more instrumentation on the engine, so put some EMP sensors in, they might even put cylinder pressure monitoring in, and a bit more budget to work with injectors and pump upgrades, then we would try and push things a little bit harder. But that'll be for the next one, or that might be this one another time. But the gains per pound spent are going to get sort of diminishing at this point. If you can keep everything standard and bolt a big turbo on and get that sort of power, that's definitely going to be the cheapest way of doing it, especially considering the turbo were dead on this already. So really happy with this. I'm going to try and get on the road, get some cameras in it and see what's what, and then we might get some acceleration figures from the customer and put them in at the end of the video. So we'll see what we can do. Tight for time because it's late on today and he's picking it up tomorrow and he's itching for it back as well, which usually means they're here first thing tomorrow. So we shall see. Hopefully get something good out of it. Really happy with the numbers. Can't wait to drive it and see what it feels like.
Yeah, okay, nice.
I didn't go full throttle then because I thought I'll see what traction's like first.
They are a bit slippery on the back.
Yeah.
They can be.
Yeah. Can't complain with that though. It's,
that pulled nicely then.
So we've got stage 3 gearbox tune.
Perfect.
So that's got no auto upshifting manuals in it, hard cut limiters and all that. Tom was just playing with your launch control.
Yeah.
You're just changing RPM because if you have it set a little bit too high, it just does a burnout when you're trying to go. I'll put windows up, otherwise we'll not hear ourselves. Yeah, this feels really strong.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with this.
I think we could have probably squeezed everything a little bit more and see where we got, but everything just seemed happy at that.
Where it was, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, there's no harm kicking it off a little bit either, is there?
No, it depends what use.
Safe, isn't it?
Like if you took this on track and wanted to do 10 laps of the track, it probably is pushed a bit too hard.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a squirt up and down a bypass,
Yeah,
it'll last forever like this. So.
Well, that's basically what it's for. It's just, daily driving, stick it normal.
Yeah.
Don't hoon it or anything, and then on the weekends, knock it in sports, have a spirited drive.
Exactly. And this has added to full experience, this fluffy headrest thing that you've got going on here. But yeah, I think economy, looking at it, obviously like I've just got in it, 31.3, and we definitely wouldn't have been just driving up and down bypass trying to get...
Yeah, that's when we can't complain of that. Another reason why you love the diesels.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, you get all the diehards who never have a diesel, but they must be at the fuel station all the time. They must have a tidy bird works behind pump.
I'm putting fuel in this once every 3 weeks, sort of
right.
thing, so you can't complain of that.
No, definitely not. I'm just going to put it in manual while there's a bit of traffic and just see what it drives like at low RPM. But yeah, you can't beat the economy of diesels.
You really can't.
Like I've been cruising around in V10 Touareg, so I'm getting petrol economy in a diesel.
I've seen that, mate. You've done bits on that. I've seen the something you put on the other day, the heavy duty one.
The finger
3mm sheet steel.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I've just got it in RAM now to change prop bearing, and it's battered under it. Absolutely battered.
You had a good time with it though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the main thing then, isn't it?
So like with this, obviously this auto gearbox tune, it always just puts you in a nice gear for big turbo as well. Like it's keeping it sort of around 1800, 2 grand when you're wanting to get cracking on.
Yeah, cool.
But I'm only tickling it and it's putting it in rate gear, which is standard. I don't know whether you thought with this. The gearbox seems to always be changing up a bit too early in manual and leaving it in a bit too high a gear in sport. So now you should probably be driving, if you're cruising and you're just wanting to get up to speed, not full bore, but just cruising and just getting up to speed quickly, you'll be leaving it in drive now, rather than keep knocking in sport, knocking in drive, You need some screen wash as well, it sounds. Let's get it in sport and let it have it. Put it in manual. Is it manual now? I'll change up before it roasts tyres up. You've got your hard cut.
Yeah, love the hard cut as well.
It's got everything you need. You can show off and you can still cruise about comfy.
It's got the performance to go with it as well, hasn't it?
The gear changes are miles better now.
Yes.
They're definitely not as responsive as the new 8-speed, these 6 HPs, but they're definitely, compared to standard when you do the tune, it sounds pretty good as well, doesn't it? See, I didn't drive it before. Is it a lot noisier now, even though it's...
To be honest with you, I think it's actually quieter.
Has it?
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm okay with that. Like, the sound sounds a lot more refined.
Yeah,
tune,
it's
sort
not
of thing.
like booming.
Before it was just sort of bah.
Yeah. Which I don't think this exhaust's overly noisy.
Well,
not when you're cruising anyway.
But funny story, the reason why I actually had the single silencer put on was because I was watching one of your videos on one of these, and you said straight through, sounds good, but it's a bit in your face. So we always say have a silencer, and that's the reason why I've got the one silencer on it.
I think we've just put a straight through. Well, it's still got a cat in, but the cat don't make much difference to noise. on our 125D, obviously twin turbo,
that, yeah.
and that's not noisy at all. It's probably a little less than this, to be fair. Like, this is second gear. No messing there, is there?
Nah. Oh, thank you so much.
No, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I'm impressed myself.
Good, yeah.
I wish when I got the E90, everybody was saying get the M series engine.
Yeah.
So I got the M57, and I really wish I'd put the N series in there, because obviously.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, like, I had about 6 months of researching, like looking for like my next car. When I finally settled on one of these, it was a case of the M57. It's renowned for it. The bulletproof engines. I service it myself every 6,000 miles, and people say you won't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like, these have not got the same timing chain problems as 4-cylinder version and stuff like that. So feels good, that. If you change up just at right times, you get that little fart, don't you? So,
a little burble, kind of like the SG.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, really happy with that. Well, I'm glad you're.
no,
I'm glad you're that eager. You could come along for first road test.
Yeah, no.
If you've got a draggy or something like that, send us some figures if you manage to.
Yeah, we'll do, happily, yeah.
I don't fancy practicing in your car, see how I can launch it. But it's that's the problem with rear-wheel drive cars. You've got to know how to launch them, and you get used to that car in them conditions. It'd be good for drifting, this, I think. You've got plenty of.
Well, that's why I want to come back for the limited slip as well, just to protect it all up and everything, so I'm not causing damage whilst I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing is, with a limited slip diff as well, people think you're going to be worse off with sliding it and stuff, but it's more predictable. It doesn't just catch you.
You can actually control it. It gives you more of a feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. We'll let it tick over 2 minutes just to cool it down. But I think you're all. Danny's sorted everything out with Anti, so
what I need to know is, how do you actually activate the launch control?
I think it's drive, sport, foot hard, don't brake.
Yeah, cool. So.
Yeah, away you go. It's because you sort of you're adding launch into this, and it don't really want to have it, so you are trying to sort of.
Yeah, no, launch isn't for everyday use.
No, and it's not because this gearbox hasn't really got, like, the 8 HP's have got a proper launch where it stalls torque converter. This you're trying to move while you're trying to do it, so it's a bit of a.
I was going to say, the car is still trying to go, but at the same time, all you've done is gone.
Just drop RPM down.
Just a little bit, just yet.
Yeah, just drop RPM down enough, just so it don't want to.
Yeah, it doesn't want to go.
Because literally, if you set it at like $2,500, you just start there doing a burnout when you're trying to move. So harder you press brakes, more you're just straining stuff. But yeah, it's.
No, that is perfect, amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really happy. When I saw the numbers on the dyno and everything, I was just like, this is going to drive nice. And then I were hoping to get out on it yesterday and just do a little bit, and then it got we got a bit busy. And but yeah, it's worked out perfect. I think this is the spec, same as like in the newer F series with the 30s.
Yeah.
I think. Because a 335D is always harder to find a good one. A lot more problems with them.
Max out a bit more on the tuning side as well, because they are strained from factory.
Yeah, you wouldn't get this power from a tuned 335 unless you put a bigger turbo on, which is twice as expensive and everything. So it's, I think this is the best compromise, I think, because there's a lot.
Going for the 30. And
I think so, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because you just spent a few quid, but I think what you've probably spent on this, you probably only just managed to get a remap and a decent 335D in this condition.
Yeah, I'm probably about $1,000 over it.
Yeah.
But
but then you've got what you want rather than just a mapped 335. Yeah, so this is the thing. Like we get every video with a 30D, everybody's like, just buy a 35D, but you're like.
Yeah, but you're like, but then the tuning responsibility sort of goes down a bit because you can't really add much on.
Yeah, and I think these probably, when tuned, I'd have to back them and drive them both myself for a bit, but seem to be probably as power wise. I don't think you, especially with the auto, I don't think you miss anything at the bottom.
No.
And you get a little bit more at the top. But I think the economy is probably no different, maybe even a little bit better as well. So we'll see. You let me know what you think.
I was going to say, I will happily let you know.
Yeah, give us some feedback, and video probably going out next week, so get commented on there. And
we'll do. I'll share it over all the socials.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming to us anyway.
No worries. Well, I'll be coming to you guys for the rest of it now. This is until it's done.
Yeah, sweet. We'll do
I'll
whatever you
talk
need
back.
to do. Yeah, sweet. Thank you.